Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation.
Now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production. I want to highlight the word production. We need to produce for our families, produce for our communities, produce for our country ultimately. We need production now more than ever before, because once we produce, we can eat. Once we produce, we will have money. Once we produce, the country will collect, taxes, revenue, and we can go on and on. Then they will build roads, schools, clinics, police stations, pay salaries, pay the sanitation workers to keep the streets clean, and we can go on and on and on. So production has a ripple effect. It ebbs and spreads. And once you appreciate that, it will motivate you to go out today and do better. Go out today and produce. I want to encourage the folks on Facebook and YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. And if you're listening to me on Vibes 101.3 FM and 106.3 FM, big up your whole self. Tell a friend that I am on. I want to start off this morning by saying to you, not everyone you meet or not everyone you hear say that they love Grenada and they want the best for Grenada genuinely mean that they want that for Grenada. There are a lot of fake people out here. There are a lot of people with hidden agendas. Because if Grenada is peaceful, if Grenada is stable, if the unemployment rate continues to drop, if the salaries of people continue to improve, if just the living standards and conditions of our people continue to improve, then there is a group of people who believe, right? A group of people who believe they will never get a chance to come in power, to get back in power. If things are good, if Grenadians are prospering, if opportunities are flowing for our people. But if things are bad, then they believe that they stand a chance. And they would not wait for things to just, deteriorate or get bad naturally or normally or generally. They would help it to get bad. They would work towards making it bad. That is how unpatriotic some people are. That is how fake some people in this place we call home are. And I'm telling you this because I know. And they're in ministries, they're in government departments, they're in statutory bodies, they're in the media, they're in private sector, they're in your community, they might even be in your home. They have an agenda. They have an agenda and they want to see that agenda fulfilled. But they would pretend, they would talk nice, they would project themselves to be patriots and lovers of country. But deep down, they do not like Grenada. They do not want to see Grenada prosper. So everything that they believe can stain Grenada, can spoil the good name of this country, they will be pushing that. In fact, you will not see them, not one day, not one moment in time, post something that's good, that's positive, that the government did. You don't have to like the party in power, but if something is good, if you love your country and something is good, then you need to say it's good. But you would look at their pages or their YouTube channels, right? And all you see is bad news, something negative. Every time they get a chance to call in a radio program, it's just negative, negative, negative. They live, they thrive on that. But when you hear them speak, you will believe that they are saints. You will believe that they are Grenada loving people. You will believe that they want good for you. But they don't. Because you see, it is a competitive sport. Politics is competitive. And the people who want to get in power, they don't want things to be good. They don't want Grenada to be transformed. They don't want prosperity for you. They don't want opportunities for you. They don't want betterment for you, because they believe that if you are prosperous, they believe if opportunities come to you, they believe if your community starts, thriving, transforming, jobs are being created, the standard of living and, the condition start changing for the better for our people, they believe that they would not stand a chance to get back into power. And they know that. So what they do, they have people in ministries stalling payments. They have people in ministries who would collect people's invoices and have to do government work, the work that they're paid to do. Either it gone missing or they so lucky that they're not there on time. You make appointments and they don't show up. Every big project has some, delay, some overrun, some issue. That is what they do. And they do so well organized. They're not doing these things in isolation. They meet in a little caucuses. They meet in a little, comfortable space, and they talk these things out. They discuss these things because their agenda is to come back in power. They want power. And as a result, they are willing to do any and everything to get power. So they have all kind of bad things to say about everything in the country. We are not a perfect people or a perfect nation. And if you start looking at organizations, let's say the Royal Grenada Police Force, they are not perfect. Or Her Majesty's or His Majesty Prison, they are not perfect. Or let's say Customs, they're not perfect. Or Ports Authority, they're not perfect. They will not get everything right. And if you show me a perfect person, I would raise you up. We all are fighting to be. Look, we are fighting to be perfect, but we will never become perfect. Imperfection is here in this life. But I am still saying, why these people who want power will go to that length to paint a bad picture of Grenada, take a broad brush and paint a bad picture of the country. Why? Because they want power, they want to get in the halls of government, and they think, or they know, because that's a fact, they know if opportunities are flowing, they know if unemployment continues to drop, they know if the living standard and condition of our people continue to improve, they know that they do not stand a chance of getting into power. And they know that the project, for example, from the Sendell Tunnel to Maurice Bishop International Airport, the water enhancement project, and they know the project from St. Andrew over the Grande Tang and, down to St. George, or the project on the western side, down to the south, or the Calivini project, the Clift. They know all these projects. They know that once they're completed, they would enhance the living standards of our people. They will make things better for our people. They know that. But they would make the project an issue because they want to saturate the minds of Grenadians so that Grenadians will be enraged, upset with the current condition of the roads. That is what they want. But they know that this must happen for the project to be completed, or for the project to complete. They know that those inconveniences must happen. And that is why the government built a lot of the bypass roads and the other back roads and so on. Fix it up. But still, these people will be on radio, social media, saying all kinds of bad things. But here it is. When the roads are fixed, right? Fixed. So the water project will come to an end. I think at the end of March, it will come to an end. March the 31st. And the roads will be paved or repaved. It will be fixed. They will do some major asphalt paving of our roads. And the same people who are talking today will find something, some way, some spin to paint even that when it comes bad. That is how they function. They criticize and condemn the free tuition policy, something that's good for the young people, so that they can access tertiary level education, go to NULO, go to TAMCC. They criticize and condemn it. Why? Because they want to come into power and they believe that this thing is a good thing, because they know in their heart that this thing is a good thing. And if it is good, then they do not stand a chance as a party, as a group wanting to get into power. They know. So then they say, well, we had something like that, and Why you're giving free tuition and you're not giving bus fare? Why are you giving free tuition and you're not giving money for lunch? And they concoct stories, they spin it. Because even if they know deep down that it's a good thing, they will not tell you that it's good. They're going to find some way to condemn it and to criticize it. Yeah. So they know that the pay and grade for police officers is a good thing. They know that police officers were fighting for that for years under NNP. They know that. But still, for all, they would come up with some kind of concoction and say, well, yes, they pay and grade, but some police officers not getting this, and they're not getting the money, and they're not. That's how they do it. Even if they know it's a good thing, and even if they know that the police officers are getting their money. It's not a perfect system. There might be one or two people who might have challenges because of technicalities. It's not perfect. But these people come up with some reason to paint the thing bad. So the government decided, well, we building police headquarters, or we buying a building and renovate it and upgrade it and modernize it and turn it into the police headquarters. Well, that's a good thing. They know it's a good thing. But they come up with some concoction again, and they say, well, it's an old building. It's not a new building. So it's not a new police headquarters. And it's an old building that been there. But the building been there. They never had the vision to buy the building and upgrade it, modernize it, and have the police headquarters there. They were at the fort in this old, how many years? The fort, I want to believe it's more than 100 years. So they were crammed up in this little thing and them up there. But I'm saying all of this to say to you, the people who want to get into power will not be pleased when opportunities flow in for you. They're not pleased when your living standard and condition improving and better. When the government rolled out the free hot meal program, when they roll out that program, feeding 16,000 students every day, you know what the NNP turn around and say? They say, well, this school have problems with getting this amount of food stuff or provision or fish or chicken, and there's shortage here and problems there. And what? You think the NNPN know that rolling out a program like that, there will be teething issues and there will be challenges, but over time they're going to get it? They know that. And they know that this program is a needy program, a very important program. And then they turn around and say, well, when NNP was there, the program was in place, but the parents used to pay $1 or $3 at the secondary school, and that used to go towards making sure that they have everything. $1 could pay for a plate of food. $1, $3 could pay for a plate of food, and a cup of juice. Just think about it. Just think about it. But so they know what they're doing. They know that the government is saying, hey, no child should stay at home because their parents don't have lunch or don't have things to, send them to school, or $1, $3 to send them to school, right? You should be able to go to school and access education. This is a good move. But the NNP, for example, will not go and speak to the farmers in the community to mobilize, let's say, the extra pumpkins that they may have, or the extra watermelons that they may have, or the extra oranges, or limes, or lemon, or cucumbers, or lettuce, or tomatoes, or banana, or dasheen, or callaloo, or sweet peppers, or chive, or celery, and breadfruit. Or they will not come up with an initiative to go and engage farmers or the community, because there are people who are not farmers, but they have a backyard and there are things planted there. Maybe they met it or maybe they planted it. You never know. And it would be in abundance from time to time. You can mobilize and organize them and supply the schools with some of the stuff. They will not do that. The NNP will not do that. Because it is not in their best interest to do it. And it's sad. It's terribly sad because you hear these same people talking because they want to come into power. They want power. They want to get back in power. But all they do is talk, and it's all optics. So they're going to have some cocktail breakfast or some, what is it? Is it breakfast? Some breakfast to discuss this and to discuss that at Mount Cinnamon, this and whatever. It's all a game, a trick to trick you into believing that they're genuine and that they're sincere. They criticize the WASH program. They had all kind of stuff to say about the WASH program. I'm telling you, this is dangerous. A government taking people out from pit latrines and open bathrooms with these galvanized sheetings and so on around it. Taking them out from that and elevating them, giving them their dignity back, their humanity back, by building a modern bathroom and toilet facility. Painted, electricity in, water done, sink, toilet bowl, all the stuff, right? Giving them that. The NNP still criticize and condemn that. They still don't like that for you. They condemn the bi-monthly salary payment, where public officers are receiving their money every fortnight or every 15 days or so. The NNP was against that, something that most countries around the world move towards years and years ago. In fact, some countries are every week. So it keeps the economy liquid or buoyant, and people do not have to borrow to make it to the end of the month. Yes, you would have to be a better manager of your finance, but it's a good thing. But they criticize that. They say it's not feasible, it can't work, it can't. Come on, use your head, just think. They criticize the minimum wage. The NNP, they said, well, if you adjust the minimum wage, the employers are going to send people home. So the security officers who are getting $9.25 now, they used to get $4 before on the NNP per hour. You have geriatric caregivers and cleaners and cooks and, laborers and housekeepers, bus conductors and so on. And they're getting more. The clerks and so on getting more as a salary every month, every fortnight. The NNP criticize that. They condemn it. And that is why I started off the program this morning to say to you that there are some fakes. All they want is power. They don't care about you, because they would have applauded the minimum wage adjustment. Because by law, every 3 years, the minimum wage must be adjusted to keep in line with inflation. Right? But NNP was there, and they never adjusted the minimum wage. Not once. And they like you, and they want good for you. They are not genuine. They are not sincere, because they want to get in power, and they believe, they're convinced that if things are good, they don't stand a chance. So what they do, they make sure that you think that things are bad. They make sure that they go out there and they push certain narratives. They push certain agendas. And they believe that you will, in terms of voting, right? They believe that you will look at candidate X and candidate Y. And based on that, you will go and vote. That is what they believe. They believe that. They don't believe that you're going to look at leadership on both parties. They don't believe that you're going to look at what the government delivered, what the government done for this country in the last 3 years, 4 years. They don't believe in that. They don't think that you're going to even look at that. So even if, as a nurse, you're getting $500 more on your salary, they don't believe that you're going to factor that in terms of voting. If you're a doctor and you're getting $1,000 more on your salary as they were getting, they don't believe that that doctor going to factor that in terms of voting. If you're a family and maybe you have 5 votes in that house and they gave you a modern bathroom and toilet facility, or maybe a Build Back Better house, or maybe some materials, right, to refurbish your house, or maybe they build a nice road in your community, or maybe they lit the playing field and upgraded the playing field, or lit the community center, or upgraded or renovated the community center, or lit the basketball court or netball court and upgraded it, or maybe renovated the medical station or police station, maybe a jetty in Windward, the night landing in Carriacou, more flights going out of Grenada and coming into Grenada, fixing up the roads, keeping Grenada stable and so on, and minimum wage adjustment, making workers permanent, the establishment of the new pension scheme, and we can go on and on and on. They don't believe that you will factor that in. So you're a pensioner and you're collecting your pension now. You didn't used to get it. You are not getting your pension because the NNP refused to give you your pension. And in fact, if you listen to some of them, they're still saying, well, the government shouldn't go ahead and pay because this and that, and they have all kinds of reasons still. But you're a pensioner now. You were in the hot sun fighting for your pension and so on. When the NDC came, they gave you your pension, and you will get your pension until you die. But they don't believe that you're going to go at the polling station or go into the polls on election day and vote because of that. They don't believe that. They're saying, well, look, you're going to look at candidate X and candidate Y, and that's it. That's what they're thinking. They believe that we are so stupid and we're so dumb. That is what they believe. They believe that the unestablished workers who had no pension to go home to, now they have a pension to go home to. They believe that these 4,000 something workers not going to factor that in when the election time comes around. And the thousands of public officers who are being made permanent in the system, they have security of tenure, right? They believe that these people going to forget that and not factor that in when they go to vote. The young people who receive training in the Digital Workforce Initiative, 100 of them, $2 million spent or invested in them so that they can learn, ICT and cybersecurity and other things like that and become employable. They believe that these people will not factor that in when they go to vote. The Elevate Her program, where hundreds of young people, young women, are given a second chance and given the opportunity to better themselves, right? They believe that they will not factor that in when the election time comes around. The folks in the Empower program, the young men in the Empower program who get in more as a stipend and more as a grant when they complete the program, they believe that these people will not factor that in when they go on election day. I'm telling you, they believe that. It's strange, but that is their conviction. They say, well, it's candidate X and candidate Y, and they're presenting this candidate and that candidate, and they're comparing it, and this one no good and that one good and that one. That's what they believe. That is what they believe. So the folks who are going to jail for a piece of cannabis, a piece of weed, right? They no longer, once that law is passed to decriminalize cannabis, they won't be going to jail for just a piece of weed or, under 66 grams or whatever the amount, and their record will be clean, so they could start afresh and apply for certain jobs and so on. They believe that these people are not going to factor that in. They believe that the 500 plus businesses that were assisted through the CES program to bounce back, to go to the next level, expand, to hire new people. They got up to $30,000. They believe that these business owners, these small business owners, will not factor that in when election time comes around. The creatives who were never talked about, who were never considered under the NNP time, they got 100% concession to bring in the equipment and materials and so on. They got soft financing, access to soft financing at the Grenada Development Bank. They have an office that they can call home, office of the creatives and so on, creative affairs, right? And they're constantly supported in so many ways. They have access to TAMCC to study different things. You believe that these people would not consider that when the election time comes around? The farmers who were given assistance after Hurricane Beryl, Hurricane Ivan passed, I was here. Hurricane Emily passed, I was here. And I can tell you, the NNP administration never assisted the farmers and gave them financial support and other things like that. So you have farmers who were given up to $9,000. Some got $4,500. Some of them, they continue to get concessionary fertilizer, right? Concessionary plants, like being sold at really reduced cost. You have a tissue culture lab now. You have a proper abattoir. You have a breeding program. You have a coconut replanting revitalization initiative. You have apple being tried out here. You have, it's a lot, right? You have hatcheries. Now government has a national hatchery that, and you have an agro-processing facility that they can go to. Tell me this. Some of these people believe, the NNP, they believe that those folks will not consider that when they go to vote. They're convinced that they would not. The public officers who had to march in the streets, right, to get an increase in their salary, the public officers, they were able to get 13% without going and march and demonstrate in the streets for it. You think that these people would not consider that when they go to vote? We have not heard of any con man, any crook, any fraudster that came into Grenada and conned this government of anything. You might see them putting up stuff about CBI program and some kind of Henley and something and this and that, because they want to paint Grenada bad. And many of these things are things that they're orchestrating. But we have not seen any con man, any crook come into this country and con this government of millions and millions of dollars. We have not seen that under the NNP administration. We have seen countless crooks and convestors and fraudsters come into this country and take hundreds of millions of dollars away without going to jail, without being arrested or charged. And then you had Cap Bank, the Cap Bank fiasco, where a lot of simple, ordinary Grenadians lost their little savings, right, under the NNP administration, which is really terrible. And I'm saying all of this, right, to say to you that some of these people, they believe that you will not factor those things in voting. The Grenadians in the diaspora who are proud of their country again, who are seeing things happening, who are happy with the leadership that we have, the most honorable Deacon Mitchell, a stable hand, who is not bacchanalish, who is not confrontational, who has, that intelligence to discern, to be wise, right? Look at our standing regionally and internationally. Come on, we have an economy that's doing well. We have a stable and peaceful country. You believe that people would not factor those things in? We have a new hospital to come. The stadium, the cricket stadium, for all these years were not lit. No lighting. We couldn't have any night cricket in that stadium. It's almost there. They almost complete everything when it comes to the lighting of the cricket stadium. Progress Park in St. Andrew. Just look at it. That place was dark at nights. The NDC lit that park, one of the major or main parks in St. Andrew, and they install a play area there. You look at Lasso Jazz, they lit that too and install a play area there. You look at different communities where they, the Vendom playing field, they're going to light that very soon. There are other playing fields. Montu playing field, they light that thing and they put a bathroom facility there. You go on Grandlands Beach, you could walk there in the night because there are solar lights. The place is lit to protect you. Come on, you think that people would not factor those things in come the next election? Because, the NNP is saying it's about candidate X and candidate Y. Because all the NNP wants is to come into power. All they want is power. And they don't care how they get it. But they are very much aware that if the standard of living of our people continue to improve, if our people are getting opportunities, right, or continue to get opportunities, and things are ever getting better, they know that they don't stand a chance. So what they do, those NNP zygote sycophants and goons, pundits, surrogates, and activists, what do? They sabotage, they undermine, and they are all about. They're in government departments, they're in ministries, they're in statutory bodies, they're in schools, they're in the police force, they're in the prison, they're all about. And a lot of them, they're unemployed. Those NNP supporters, a lot of them, waiting for the NNP to come back into power so they could get to go to the office and beg in the constituency office for X, Y, or Z. Or maybe to get all the contract on the road. You see the point? I am saying it is time for us to wise up. Anybody could talk. Any political party could offer all kinds of stuff and tell you they're going to do this and do that, promises that we call pie in the sky. They're going to offer you everything and anything. But you have to be smart enough to know that the NNP, for example, they are not new to politics. They were there before. And in fact, I need to do a program reminding Grenadians, particularly the young people, that the NNP was there before for 23 years and a half. And the NDC came into power and they have to do all of the things that the NNP didn't do. So they built in the St. David Catholic Secondary School. The NNP didn't build it. They built in the St. Andrew Anglican Primary School. The NNP didn't build it. They built in the Grenada Christian Academy School. The NNP didn't build it. They built in a new police station for the Grenville police officers, right, in Grenville. And we can go on and on and on. I am saying to you, they are ungrateful people. But what I do know, ungratefulness is worse than obeah. There are some people, you do good for them. And they have some of the most nastiest and dirtiest things to say about you. And more you do good for them, more you treat them well, folks, now solve your problem. They would undermine you, they would bad talk you, they would seek to destroy you. But when they fear you, because there are still people who must fear you. Because when they're afraid of you, when they fear you, they tend to do certain things. They're afraid. So they go into work on time because they're afraid the boss. They're producing all day, they're working because they're fearful that they're going to send them home or discipline them or something of that sort. So people, sometimes you have to have people fearing you. Not every time you just say, well, just be and just do what you want to do. Sometimes you have to make them fear you, to respect you. Some people say, well, no, I'll respect you on it. Well, our people tend to fall in line when they fear you. All right? And everything else will follow. So that is something that can't go away. And if you believe that it's gone, then you're in trouble. Then you're in trouble. So I started the program this morning by saying to you, there are fake people. There are folks with sinister agenda. They have an agenda, a hidden agenda. And those in opposition, those outside of the halls of government, they want power. But they know if the living standard and condition of our people continue to improve, if opportunities continue to flow for our people, if, Grenada continues to develop, they know they don't stand a chance. They know that. So they want bad to befall us. Look at something. Something as simple as the community of River Road coming together to beautify the Green Bridge, right? The Green Bridge been there for a long time. And they decided, well, look, Independence time, let us come together. And not only NDC people that come together, NNP, NDC, and NOP came together to beautify the bridge. Some people go and vandalize it.
The historic and famous Green Bridge, which has been abandoned for years, was brought to life just in time for the 52nd anniversary of Grenada's independence, adding to the aesthetics in and around the National Cricket Stadium and the Kirani James Athletic Stadium. However, today, members of the community are aggrieved, expressing disappointment as some individuals chose to strip the bridge of the national colors. Gone without a trace, Anthony Howard, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Town of St. George, said this initiative, which took hours leading into late night, was vandalized by some unscrupulous human. Highlighting the extensive effort that went into the beautification, Howard said their intent was to have it remain in place for the upcoming Carifta Games.
We were shocked on Sunday morning when the member passed by. I noticed that a sheet of the yellow was taken down, and which is the length of the bridge. Actually, it's like over 100 feet long. Then this morning, we got a phone call that the other items are taken down, which is a total of, I would say, at least 700 feet of material that's gone. And it was rather strange because just if you go by the bridge, you would notice that the person apparently just pulled the items down, So I'm not quite sure exactly why it was done, what were the motives. But, to just walk in and take up items like this that we put down, we spend a lot of time doing this. And to have this as the end result, to me, it's rather disappointing. Especially when we were hoping that it would stay up until Carifta. The Carifta Games coming through, and we thought it would be a nice piece, to add some benches and stuff like that. It's quite a visual impact because you had tourists that kept on, not just tourists and locals, were coming through and constantly taking pictures. People were pausing here to take pictures.
For him, the most valuable aspect in all this was the time dedicated by residents. He said the waterways on both sides of the bridge yielded no trace of the material.
The thing is, if you see something, say something, and that's what we ask ask you to do. I mean, if you are there and you happen to see anyone climbing on the bridge at a very strange hour, yeah, we were up there at a strange hour because we were trying to beat the deadline, for the independence celebration. But for those who, anyone happened to see anyone the last couple of nights, on the bridge, taking items down, we ask that you reach out to the police and let them know, what you see. It's the whole idea that quantity of material was taken down, there's no way that someone with even a small car, can just take it and put it in there. It's a whole lot of material.
With some decorations still affixed, Howard said there will be increasing surveillance in the area to safeguard what's left of their efforts. The chairman said if called upon to do anything for Carifta, he's willing and ready to assist.
I have no problems. When it comes to community involvement, that's who I am. And I'm sure the other members of the team will gladly assist. If someone come up with a material and say, hey, look, let's redo this, let's send a message to them. I'm quite certain that some of the guys will actually get involved and be willing to step up. The guys and gals, I'm sorry,
This incident has once again raised concern about the vandalism of community-led initiatives and the need for greater public respect for shared spaces. Chrislina John, GBN News.
Yeah, that's a very good piece there. Just highlighting, just showcasing all of this. And that should be a wake-up call. Not everybody in this place are genuine and sincere. Not everybody is genuine and, patriotic, loving this place and will defend it. And no. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. That is what they do. They want these kind of things to happen. And that's not good. It's not good. I'm telling you. A good friend say, hey, morning. You should have seen the brandy bunch led by Emlyn yesterday at Livera for the top of ceremony of the Grenada National Hotel and the New Year, right? The Chinese. They were so high in commendation for PM Deacon Mitchell. It's almost like the entire event was in his honor for this project. You could see how upset they were. Not a single mention was made of them. So a good friend just sent me that message. Yes, I saw photos and I saw a lot of posts from the NNP after they attended that ceremony and that event up there in Livera. They're building this hotel and they're well on their way. But remember, this same hotel was, should I say, stalled, delayed. Things were not happening as fast as they were supposed to. And there were 3 or 4 other, well, I want to call them convestors. There before, people were convestors, in my belief, and under the NNP administration. And they were never able to get the thing going, to get it off the ground, to get it where it's supposed to be. But now, with the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell and his team, they were able to assist this developer or the developers there, and they're moving nicely. So this particular person who was at the event said, look, they were hiring, the developers were hiring praise to the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell and his administration for really facilitating, because you have to facilitate to make sure that things come true, to make sure that projects happen in the country. And that is why all the projects are continuing. Yes, the NNP may have started something years ago with some other developer or whoever down the road. But you see, again, I go back to the statement I made earlier. There are some people who are fake. There are some people who are not genuine, who are not patriotic. They pretend. They want power. They want power at any cost. And they believe that we're going to forget what NNP did in the 23 years and a half. They believe that. They're convinced that Grenadians are going to forget it. All the bad things that we experienced during the NNP period and NNP time in power. Because to them, Keith Mitchell is no longer in the front line, and Grenadians are going to just forget this thing, and they're going to bring in some new candidates, and then you're going to just forget that it's the NNP, that these people are representing the NNP, and the NNP is a philosophy. The NNP is a mentality. They can't change their mentality and their philosophy. But they believe that we're going to forget that. We're going to just see candidate X and candidate Y and fall for it. That is what they believe. Some of these people are convinced. Don't fool yourself. I'm telling you. But we have to be wise. In fact, we have to be clever. Not just wise, clever. Because they're going to come with their promises. They're going to come with all kind of grandiose plans and all kind of stuff. Big things, man. To fool you. They're going to promise you all kinds of stuff. Because they want to trick you into believing that they're going to deliver on this and deliver on that and all kind of stuff. They're going to condemn the government. They're going to criticize the government. They're not going to tell you anything that the government did. That's good. They're not going to speak about that at all. That's how they believe they're going to win. Because they believe that Grenadians are not, But we have to say to them, we're clever. We are not falling for all of those things. Folks, I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I will be back with you tonight in the hub. Last night, again, the internet, there was some serious internet problems. I don't know, but people are experiencing it from time to time. So because I'm streaming, then you know what will happen. The minute you start streaming, it's cut off. Come on, and the minute it cuts off, then I am off the grid on the radio. I have to call Kim and say, hey, Kim, can you reconnect me again? Can you? It's really challenging. And even online, the quality will be poor. I don't know. But they are trying to improve, work on the problems that they are experiencing, and let us wish them all the best.